Delays could have an unintended consequence. That's according to FBI Director James Comey, who now warns that an ISIS defeat in places like Syria and Iraq could lead to a massive migration of the group's fighters into Western Europe and the U.S.
Not all of the Islamic State's killers are going to die on the battlefield. Hundreds and hundreds of them when the coalition succeeds, and I'm confident it will, in crushing the Islamic State. Through the fingers of that crush are going to come hundreds of really dangerous people, and they're going to flow out primarily towards Western Europe, but we might as well be right next door to Western Europe, given the ease with which people can travel. And this is an order of magnitude greater than any diaspora we've seen before.
Joining us now with a reaction, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, retired intelligence operative for the U.S. Army and senior fellow at the London Center for Policy and Research. That was a dire warning from the FBI director, something we have not heard before.
Right. Well, we have to take it seriously. He's completely correct. I think we're making some headway on the ground, Uma, in Iraq and Syria. I've talked to my Pentagon sources, and they're confident by Inauguration Day next year we'll pretty much have the campaign completed to retake all the lost territory that ISIS gained in Iraq, at least, which means it's going to be a tactical victory. But what Director Comey is saying is absolutely correct. We're not addressing this as a global threat. If you push on a balloon, which we are, they're going other places. So we've seen the results of that in Europe. And frankly, my sources, both in the intelligence community and in the Pentagon, are very concerned and back up what Director Comey is saying about them coming here. And Uma, we've seen the attacks here. I don't believe in this self-radicalization thing. ISIS is clearly behind all this, whether they recruit them directly or inspire them to take arms. But I think Comey is correct on his assessment.
So essentially, that terror network basically concedes that it is losing ground over there.
Right.
So it's now regrouping, plotting out new strategies to go ahead and spread out into Europe and the U.S.
Correct, absolutely. Yeah, and look, we're applying tactics to a strategic situation. Sun Tzu once said, tactics only essentially are the noise before the failure, because you're not applying strategic thinking. We don't have a strategic plan to go after this. And this is one of the failings of the White House. Uma, one of the things that the White House has refused to do is allow the Pentagon the authority to go wherever and whenever ISIS shows up. So by the fact that we're not getting there ahead of them, they're getting there, they're establishing their command and control, their network. And let me be very clear on this. To defeat ISIS, you cannot simply retake territory. You must define and then address and then destroy the network. The network's the critical aspect here, not simply taking territory back.
Also, you have to destroy the ideology. But let me ask you this.
We can go ahead too, yes.
What impact, though, is all of this going to have on the current situation when you're dealing with the refugee crisis? The fact that the FBI Director Comey has said that we don't have the resources in place to properly vet people in the way that we need to at this moment to avoid allowing those people who may be tied to ISIS into this country, because ISIS has made it very clear that they are trying to infiltrate different countries via the refugee route.
Right. And they're in Europe, so we know that to be true. So therefore, you do two things. First, you stop allowing refugees to come in. You just stop. You take a step back and assess what you can do safely to preserve the citizens' safety of the United States. That must be the first priority, preserving the safety of our own citizens. Then you try to figure out what you can safely accept within the resources given. And I've seen James Comey, he just said in the run-up to our interview, Uma, that, oh, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. No, it's not. He's not. This is a policy failure to look in the right places. It's like a crowbar, looking for a crowbar in a garage where you know it's going to be there. You've got to look at the source community. I'm sorry, I'm going to say this as directly as I have to. It's within the radical Islamic community. It's within the radical Islamists. So it's not the Protestants. It's not the Catholics. It's the Islamists. So you got to start there and go for route. Otherwise, if you're looking at everything, you'll see absolutely nothing, and you'll see more attacks like we saw in Orlando, where the guy, by the way, was interviewed at least 3 times by the FBI.
Tony Shaffer, I mean, it's very sobering reality and something that we all have to pay close attention to,
Yes,
and we're going to be watching it very closely as well. Appreciate you joining us today with your insights.
Thanks so much.